Yep, buddy, you got it. Today we're going to be talking about another 25mm tank, and that tank is called the Billow V3 Plus. EH Pro has teamed up with a company called eSiggity, and they're an online retail shop out of Hawaii. So they've teamed up, they produced this Billow V3 Plus, which is a 25mm RTA. You got the Velocity style deck, you got massive adjustable airflow at the base. The adjustable airflow off this is smooth, man. Smooth as a baby's bottom, and it's because of the engineering. The small little details, they cover the details. I mean, they got the bevels around the slots. On the inside, you got that indirect airflow, which I'm going to show you in the close-ups. You got top fill, just like the Creus. You pull it up and you fill her up. Holds about 5.5 mils of juice. You got plenty of room to build on. Like I said, that Velocity style deck. All these tanks, okay, the Griffin 25, the Aromomizer Supreme, you can't go wrong with any of them. Actually, the Aromomizer Supreme, price too high in my book. Let's just toss that out. But the Griffin 25, the Geek Vape Griffin 25, and this Billow V3 Plus, these two are priced about the same. The Billow V3 Plus is $39.99. This Geek Vape Griffin 25, I'm seeing it $35 to $45 depending on where you buy it. These devices head-to-head when it comes to vapor production, head-to-head when it comes to flavor. The only difference I see is the Billow V3 Plus does not have top adjustable airflow. This one does. Now, some of you guys may think that is a con, but I do not, because of the indirect airflow in this bad boy, the Billow V3 Plus. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Here's the Griffin 25. I've closed off the airflow up top. I've opened up the airflow wide open all across the board at the base. Now, this Billow V3 Plus, it does not have adjustable airflow up top, like I mentioned, but I open up the airflow wide open at the base as well on both sides. Here's a little example for you. You hear a difference? I mean, there's a slight difference. To me, I get smoother airflow off the Billow V3 Plus. Now I'm going to close off the airflow on both of them. Here's the Griffin 25, closing it off about 3/4 away. Actually, I'm closing it off 1/4 away, so it's going to be 3/4 away open on both sides. One click, there we go. There we go, okay? You hear the difference? Much smoother off the Billow V3 Plus. So as I close her off on the Billow V3 Plus, it just stays smooth. It's consistent all across the board. Now I'm going to close her off again on the Griffin 25, even more. Halfway open all across the board. Halfway open all across the board. You hear the difference? Big difference. Airflow to me is everything, man. These devices could have kick-ass flavor, could have kick-ass vapor, but if one of the devices has better airflow, it's going to make all the difference in the world to me. Okay, now all this is going to be subjective. I know. There's all this product out there, and people have their own taste, but to me, the Billow V3 Plus, it dominates on the airflow, and because it dominates on the airflow, I'm going to choose this over this any day of the week. I don't care if this doesn't have top airflow. It doesn't make a difference to me because it's smoother. It's smoother, and I get plenty of airflow at the base, and it's got that indirect airflow in the deck, which you'll see, and that makes a difference too. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to dive down, I'm going to show you this thing up close and personal, then we'll come back, talk about the pros and the cons for this tank, and then I'll let you know if I lost this sucker today when I go out tomorrow and buy one. Here's the packaging for this EH Pro eSiggity Billow V3 Plus. And as you guys can see, it's got this magnetic flap up top. Pop that open, and then you pop this open. The first thing you're gonna see is the Billow V3 Plus user manual. You take that off. You got the actual Billow V3 Plus tank right here, an extra glass tank, some organic Japanese cotton, organic cotton, and some other extra goodies. Oh yeah. And here's the baggie of organic cotton, and they include 2 pre-built coils. And you also receive another baggie of extra goodies, a 510 drip tip adapter, Delrin 510 drip tip adapter, some extra screws, some extra O-rings, and an Allen key tool. And here's a closer up look of the extra glass tank. And here she is, a close-up view of this Billow V3 Plus. Now, a few specs for you. She's primarily made of stainless steel. She comes pre-installed with this clear glass tank. She's got a wide-bore Delrin drip tip up top, as you guys can see. Down at the base, you got dual adjustable airflow. One slot on one side, one slot on the other. To close her off, all you do is turn this ring right here to the left. Close her off, close her off, close her off. Whatever it is on this side, it's going to be the exact same on this side. And you can completely close her off. I turn it all the way to the left, and it does stop. You hear that? So it doesn't spin into place. Turn to the right to open her back up. Perfect amount of restrictiveness, and it also stops. Hear that? You got 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those holes inside there that are on the chamber section, and those 4 holes are 4mm in diameter, and that is your juice flow control. And in order to adjust the juice flow control, what I do is I turn the airflow all the way to the left, and then I start to turn, and it opens up. And you can close it off halfway, 1/4 way. Just a little snippet. Take the airflow all the way to the right, adjust the juice flow control back, wide open, or you can close her off. Perfect amount of restrictness. Oh yeah, this is a 25mm RTA, and then in height with this wide bore downward drip tip, she's about 64mm. At the base it says designed by EH Pro and eSiggity. It says Billow V3 Plus, and this is the serial number 1014. You've got this nice gold plated 510 pin, which is not adjustable. Nice buttery smooth 510 threads. Now up top, you got this top fill, just like the Creus, and it's got this pull-push action. In order to fill her up, what I do first is close off the juice flow control, close her off, and just to be on the safe side, I also close off the airflow control. But once I've done those 2 steps, what I do from there is get a hold of this piece right here, and I just pull up. Boom. And that is your massive slot, and that's how you fill her up. You know what I like about it? It's so big, you can fit anything in there. Glass dropper, plastic dropper tip, I mean, it doesn't matter. And it's secure and sealed by these O-rings in here, and then when you're done filling her up, you just push her back in. The wide bore downward drip tip screws into the top cap just like so. Smooth, buttery smooth threads. There she is. Nice wide bore. And here's the drip tip catch cup. You got these nice threads, nice smooth threads. Everything about this device is machined. I mean, it's hefty. It's got a great sheen to it. Great quality, especially for the price point. Nice smooth bevels here. Big old shaft down there. You see that Velocity style deck? We'll get into that in a second. And another thing I really like about this device is you can actually take out the base while this tank is filled up, switch out your cotton, switch out your coil, and you are good to go. Pop it back in there and you're rocking. And in order to separate the base section from the tank section, all I do is just grab a hold of this piece right here in the base section and just turn it to the left, and then she just pops right out. Oh yeah. Here's the inside of the chamber section. You got those big old juice feed control holes. Like I said, everything is machined fantastic about this device. Right up there with the Geek Vape products. All these pieces come apart like so. Shaft and chamber section. Glass tank press fits into the top cap section. That's completely O-ringed. Again, nice smooth threads. And here she is, the moment of truth. Here is the Velocity style deck section. A little bit different because you got it blocked off in the center, and you got the indirect hole. Okay, look at that. Indirect oval hole in the center. See that on both sides? And it's supposed to hit the top and the inside of each coil. So you got the airflow hitting below each coil on each side. See that? It's just really, really smooth. You got your positive connection right here, peak insulator. Negative connection is milled into the deck. Here's your juice canals right here, and I love it. I love the way it is. Now look at this standard macro build I got in here. I've had this build in here for like 2.5 weeks. All I do when she gunks up is I pull the wicks out, dry burner, put new wicks in, fold and tuck, and refill it. And check it out, the deck section is about 18mm. They market it to be 18mm in diameter. That's a lot of room to build on. That's more room than the Griffin 25, about 1.5 millimeters. Gotta be mentioned as a pro. So what I'll do is I'll cut each wick at an angle out, just like so. Make it easier to tuck and fold. Or fold and tuck, I mean. Like I said before, everybody's got their own routines. This is just mine. All I'm gonna do is just tuck. You don't wanna jam it, you just wanna tuck it. Just like that, all across the board. And there you have it, guys. Press fit the tank in the top cap section. Screw in the shaft and chamber section. Oh yeah, another thing I want to show you. Here's the standard 510 drip tip adapter. So all you do is you just screw it in like so. Sits like that, and you can use your standard 510 drip tips. But I prefer the wide bore drip tip that comes with this. So I'm going to unscrew it, and all I'll do is just put pressure on it, turn it to the left, and she comes right out. Juice her up. Screw the base into the rest of the tank section. Close off the airflow control, and she is. Pull up on the top cap and fill her up. And I'll leave a little air pocket. Push down. Open up the juice flow control, and as you guys can see, she's already starting to feed, and that's what we want. And obviously open up the airflow control, and there is zero leaking. Little size comparison for you guys. Here is the Aromomizer Supreme next to this Billow V3 Plus, and they are about the same exact size in height and width. Oh my goodness. And here's the Billow V3 Plus next to the Griffin 25. Again, the same height, about the same height, and the same width. Actually, this one's only 24mm at the base, whereas this one's 25mm at the base, and then it gets wider as it goes up to 25mm, 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 and they are pretty much the same height, guys. And here's the V3 Plus sitting on the Sigelei 213. Looks kind of wonky because these tanks, man, not just this one, but the Aromomizer Supreme and the Griffin 25, they're just tall, man. They're tall. But it fits. There's no overhang. Sits down flush. And here she is sitting on this Camry Tech AK-47, and I gotta say, this is definitely a better match. A big tank on a big mod, oh yes, and there's no overhang. So that right there is my close-up view of this Billow V3 Plus. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. First pro, smooth ass airflow. Second, it's got that velocity style deck, easy to do your builds, more convenient. Third, you got that indirect airflow in the deck like you guys saw in the close-ups, which hits the top of each coil. 4, it holds a good amount of juice, 5.5, about 5.5 mils of juice. 5, comes with an extra Pyrex tank. Oh yeah, so if you lose this one, you got another one to go to. 6, back to airflow, it's got the perfect amount of restrictiveness. If I adjust it one way or adjust it the other, it's not gonna spin. And you can also turn it all the way to the left and it locks, or it stops. Turn it all the way to the right and it stops. It doesn't just spin into place. But yeah, perfect amount of restrictiveness. The juice flow control, you got plenty of it. The 4.4mm holes, ho ho ho, and it's easy to adjust. Just like the Crease tank, it's got that same type of top airflow as you guys saw, where you pull it up and you got plenty of room to pop your dropper in, your glass dropper, and that's a biggie. That's a biggie. It's convenience. I personally like this wide bore Delmer drip tip. It screws into place. It's comfortable, easy to use, and that leads me to talk about quality control. This thing is hunky, man. Hunky dory hefty. It's made of good quality. It's got a nice sheen to it, as you guys saw. Threads all across the board, like I mentioned, buttery smooth, and that leads me to talk about price point. $39.99, man. That's a kick-ass price for this. A steal. Oh yeah, and if you want to use your standard 510 drip tips for this tank, you can do so because it comes with a standard 510 drip tip adapter. And back to the deck section, so not only is it easy to install your builds because of the velocity style deck and you got plenty of room to build on, you can pop any build you want, but you also have the juice canals, so popping your wick in there, inserting your wick, tucking your wick in, it's easier. I find it easier for this device than I do the Geek Vape products. And last but not least, she screwed down on all my mods, been compatible, screwed down flush, and made a connection. Oh yeah. So there's 2 cons I found for this tank. One, the top fill. Now it's got that pump action, just like the Crease. You pull it out, pump it back in, as you guys saw in the close-ups. The one thing that I'm afraid of is over time, how long is this thing gonna last? It's because it's not like where you unscrew it and you have the slots, you just fill it up and screw it back on. It's gonna last a lot longer if you have that type of design versus this, in my opinion. And another thing, if you're the type of vapor, when you receive these products, you wash them with like Dawn or Gain. You gotta make sure that you rinse it properly, because the top fill, if you don't, what happened, what I did was I screwed everything together, I went to fill it up, I pulled it out, filled it up, pushed it back in, and it pushed soap suds all over my coil, my wick and coil, and I had a soapy vape for like a day. I had to take her out, pop a new wick in there. I was pissed. So you gotta rinse this thing properly, because if you don't, you're gonna have a soapy mess. And the last con I found for this tank, and this is gonna be subjective, but the height, not just for this 25mm tank, all these other 25mm tanks, the Supreme, the Griffin 25, they're all really tall. That being said, EH Pro, E-Siggity, you guys should make a freaking shorty. If you made a shorty Billow V3 Plus, it'd be badass. And like I said, it's gonna be a subjective con, but the height of all these devices, man, they are tall. Now on to the big question, the big answer today. Hey Rip, if you'd have lost this sucker today, would you go out tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is, duh. I mean, $39.99 for this? It's just as good as the Griffin 25. Both these tanks are fantastic. Hell, the Aromizer Supreme RDTA is fantastic, but the price point for this is no good. No good. But these two, oh yeah. So despite the hype for these products, I'd still buy it, definitely. But what I'm saying is they should come out with products that are shorter. Now, a lot of vapors out there are going, he would buy everything. He would buy everything. He thinks everything's great. That's not true. All the stuff that I review, I always point out the pros, I always point out the cons. It's just the stuff that I review, I freaking really like. Why the hell am I going to review something that just sucks ass? That doesn't make any sense. That's a waste of your time. That's a waste of mine. You dig? So yeah, all in all, this tank is beastly, man. It's smoother. The airflow is what got me. It got me at hello. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.